Hello, in this video we'll talk about present indefinite tense form. First of all, let's see what is the main verb formula used for present indefinite tense form. The verb formula used for this tense form is using the verb either in its root form or adding s or es to the root of the verb. Now, we use the verb in its root form when the subject is either a plural noun or any personal pronoun except the third person singular. And we use the verb with the suffix s or es when the subject is either a singular noun or the third person singular pronoun, such as he, she, it. Now let's have a look at it in an example. The boys play. I play. You play. We play. You play. They play. The boy plays. He, she, it plays. Now let's quickly see when we add es instead of s to the end of the verb. We add es if the verb ends with the letters such as o, x, sh, or ch. For example, go, goes, wash, washes. Also, if the verb ends with the letter y that's preceded by a consonant, in that case, we replace y with I and then add es. For example, study, studies, shy, shies. However, please bear in mind that if the verb ends with a y that's preceded by a vowel, in that case, we simply add s to the end of the verb. For example, play, plays. Now on the slide, I would like to bring to your attention a commonly made mistake by English learners. This mistake happens when the subject contains a possessive pronoun followed by a noun. Now, in such sentences, you need to remember that the verb will always be determined by the noun in the subject, not the possessive pronoun. Possessive pronoun plays no role in determining the verb. Now, let's have a look at it in a few examples. My sister goes to school. As you can see here, the verb is for a singular subject. The reason is because the noun here is in the singular form, and this possessive pronoun, my, played no role in determining the form of the verb. Now let's compare this to this sentence. My sisters go to school. Here, the verb is for a plural subject. The reason is because the noun here is in the plural form. Once again, the possessive pronoun my played no role in determining the form of the verb. Now, another example, their child lives abroad. Here, once again, we see the verb is for a singular subject. The reason is because the noun here is in the singular form, and this possessive pronoun played no role in determining the form of the verb. Now, compare this to this sentence. Their children live abroad. Here, the verb is for a plural subject because the noun here is in the plural form, children. And the possessive pronoun there played no role in determining the form of the verb. Another example would be his friend works as a doctor. Here, once again, we see the verb is for a singular subject because the noun here, friend, is in the singular form, and this possessive pronoun played no role in determining the form of the verb. If we compare this to this sentence, his friends work as a doctor, we see that the verb is in the plural form because the noun is in the plural form, friends, and this possessive pronoun played no role in determining the form of the verb. Now let's see what are the main time adverbs used for present indefinite tense form. The time adverbs used for this tense form are always, usually, often, seldom, sometimes, every day, every week, every month, every year. Please keep in mind that the first line of these time adverbs, that is, always, usually, often, seldom, sometimes, typically come between the subject and the verb in a sentence. However, the time adverbs like every day, every week, every month, every year typically come either at the very end or the beginning of a sentence. For instance, we usually go to the beach once a week. We go to the beach every week. Every week we go to the beach. Now let's see when we use present indefinite tense form. When we say it's present tense, it means the action happens at the present moment, currently, now. It does not happen in the past, nor in the future. And when we say it's indefinite, it means it lacks precise limits. Now, specifically speaking, we use present indefinite tense form in the following cases. When an action happens at the present tense, generally, not temporarily. For example, she likes seeing new places. Or when talking about habitual actions or occurrences. For instance, she starts work at 9 a.m. every day. When describing people's abilities to do something. For instance, he plays piano very well. We also use present indefinite tense form when describing a universal truth, such as the sun rises in the east. Lastly, we use present indefinite tense form for events that are scheduled for the near future. For example, my school opens next week. Now let's see how to make interrogative sentences when the verb is in the present indefinite tense form. As you may already have observed, in affirmative sentences, we start with the subject and follow with the verb. For interrogative sentences, however, we need to add do or does right before the subject. And when we add do or does before the subject, we need to make sure that the verb returns to its root form. There is no suffix after the verb. Now we start the interrogative sentence with do when the subject is either a plural noun or any personal pronoun except the third person singular. For example, they travel every summer. Do they travel every summer? And we start the interrogative sentence with does when the subject is either a singular noun or the third person singular pronoun. For example, he travels every summer. Does he travel every summer? Now let's see how to use a sentence in the negative form when the verb is in the present indefinite tense form. Once again, as you already know, we start the affirmative sentences with the subject first and follow with a verb. However, to turn an affirmative sentence in the present indefinite tense form into a negative one, we need to add do not or does not in between the subject and the verb. And when we add do not or does not, we need to make sure that the verb returns to its root form. There is no suffix after the verb. Now we add do not or don't in the short form when the subject is either a plural noun or any personal pronoun except the third person singular. For example, they travel every summer. They don't travel every summer. And we add does not or doesn't in the short form when the subject is either a singular noun or the third person singular pronoun. For example, he travels every summer. He does not travel every summer. Quiz time. For quiz 1, I would like you to choose the correct form of the verb for each sentence. You have 30 seconds to complete the test, and after 30 seconds, I'll show the correct answers so that you can cross-check. Alright, time is up. Now let's see the correct answers for quiz 1. You drink too much coffee. My brother works on Sundays. I want more ice cream. His friend lives in Australia. He goes to school 3 times a week. My new classmate speaks Italian. Children love playing in the park. She plays chess very well. We clean the sitting room once a week. Grandpa watches news every evening. For quiz 2, I would like you to use the affirmative sentences you see on the screen in both interrogative and negative forms. You have 30 seconds to prepare your answers. After 30 seconds, I'll show the correct answers so that you can cross-check. Time is up. Now let's see the correct answers for quiz 2. She speaks French. Does she speak French? She doesn't speak French. I often see my friends. Do I often see my friends? I don't often see my friends. He studies philosophy. Does he study philosophy? He doesn't study philosophy. They visit their grandparents every month. Do they visit their grandparents every month? They don't visit their grandparents every month. You always cook very well. Do you always cook very well? You don't always cook very well. It often rains here. Does it often rain here? It does not often rain here. You all work very hard. Do you all work very hard? You all do not work very hard. Their son works as a teacher. Does their son work as a teacher? Their son doesn't work as a teacher. My dad loves drinking tea. Does my dad love drinking tea? My dad doesn't love drinking tea. Our friends travel a lot. Do our friends travel a lot? Our friends don't travel a lot. Last but not least, it's time for homework. To practice more what you already learned in this video, you can use the verbs given on the screen in simple sentences with the present indefinite tense form. Please feel free to write your answers in the comment section below. I'll try to check them for you whenever I can. Please also do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more videos to come. Thanks for watching. Talk to you in the next video.